Hey everybody, welcome to another session of the Era of the Dragons, a little D&D game that we like to put on here. Every Sunday night. So, um welcome, and I guess we'll get into it. We'll start with our introductions. I'm not looking at the stream view, so I'm going to go with my Zoom view. So, Jaden, go ahead and introduce yourself.
All right. Hey, I'm Jaden. I also go by Soliloquy. I use they, them pronouns, and I will be playing a tiefling barbarian named Grief. Grief uses he, they pronouns and also uses a combat wheelchair. The combat wheelchair is designed by Sarah Thompson, who you can find on Twitter under Mustang's Art. And I'm an ambulatory wheelchair user in real life. That's why I like to play one as a character.
Awesome. Penny.
Hello, my name is Penny. My pronouns are she, they. And excuse me, I have a little bit of a thing going on with my throat. We're going to do our best. And I'm going to be running Gift, who is a human warlock druid multiclass who also uses, uses she, her.
Awesome. Steven.
Hi, everybody. I am Silver_Bulette, aka Steven, and I will be playing a Dragonborn rogue today, Fensiris. She uses she, her pronouns.
And Tara. You are muted.
Hi, I'm Tara. My pronouns are she, her. My character is Merlin Hendricks, a Dragonborn wizard who goes by he, him.
Awesome. And I am Archangelic. Most people call me Mal. And my pronouns are she, her. And I am going to be the game master tonight. I will be playing everyone else. So we will go ahead and start off with a little bit of a recap. So we haven't been playing for a while, so it's gonna be a little longer than normal, but we'll get through it. The party, on a mission given by an international council, has been following the activities of a dragon worshipping cult known as the Restoration. With the help of Rami, their driver, they followed clues to a highway construction project outside of the elven capital city of Rusea. They found that this was serving as a cover for smuggling large quantities of riches into an underground system of tracks, leading to locations unknown. They followed the leader of the operation, one Argus Evernoon, into the tunnels and found that they were not quite as sturdy as you initially thought, and the tracks collapsed. You fell into the underneath, where you met a cattle farmer, a horned devil, who asked that you call him by the name Corian. He asked that you help him sell some cheese that he had been making, as people felt uncomfortable buying from him directly. After spending some time being cheese merchants in the deep dwarven city of Valhammer, you made your way back to your quest, traversing lava and fighting off a young red dragon in the process. You entered a seemingly abandoned town of Stork's Run and quickly found out that it had been taken over by brigands calling themselves the Acid Guard. Led by one Jax Fletcher, a figure you had met before. You found refuge with a local named Gale who desperately wanted your help to fight them off. You devised a plan to draw out Jax, but upon executing this plan, found that it was actually an imposter. You fought bravely in the alleys of Stork's Run, and here, now, upon your victory, you decided to find the mayor of this town to ask him a few choice questions. So, but before we get there, Merlin, you're not really from this plane of existence. Things get weird. You know, you thought you were going to have a good day at the Blackberry Festival in Brambles upon the River. You know, just a chill day, put up a little tent, maybe read a few fortunes. But then a dragon attacked and there was chaos and confusion, and you basically evacuated the festival with everyone else. But you came back, you cleaned up, and it's been a few weeks just kind of hanging out in Brambles with Miss Cleo and Elfman the gnome, who you've been hanging out with and living with. They run a little tea and divination shop. So But a few weeks later, you're doing your nightly divination rituals. You're in your room and in the headspace, you got the incense going, and you hear a voice of someone you're familiar with in town who kind of knows things here and there about the goings on. A figure named Rami, who you've met before. He works for, you're not actually sure who he works for, but he knows things. In fact, go ahead and roll me a history check. See if you've maybe figured it out.
8.
8. You've definitely not figured it out. But but you know, he knows a lot of things. Maybe he works for someone important in town, but you hear his voice and he says, I don't know if you can hear me, but I know wizards can do weird things like this. I have some friends who are missing. I'm going to think about their location really hard. And you see it in your mind, your little mind's eye, exactly where you need to go to find his friends who have been missing for 2 weeks. Yeah. So what do you do to prepare yourself for this journey?
Well, the first line of action is to go outside and start rubbing some soil on my legs. It's kind of an exfoliator for all of the roughness that my legs have become. Should I speak in third person or like in first person or third person?
That is totally your call.
Okay.
And you can switch back and forth. I definitely do.
Yeah, I think we all do.
He hears this voice in his mind and feels some sort of spiritual connection to it, and he's just so alerted that, and then on an impulse he just decides to sprint as fast as he can in a certain direction. And at this point he's ready for anything.
Yeah. So you Forrest Gump your way out of this town, and you just have the stuff on your back, whatever you had in a small satchel, grabbed and just started running. And eventually you stopped running because you can't keep that up forever. But you walk southwards, south and west, and you keep walking to the location in your mind. And most of these roads are pretty well traveled. Some of them get pretty lonely, but over the course of a few days, the moon is shifting into a new moon, slowly waning, and the air is becoming different as you are approaching the autumnal equinox. And you go through the city of Zarkan and you keep heading south. And you come to it's now nighttime. And you come to a small town and you see the tavern called the Alligator's Tooth. Now, normally this would be you're guessing this is probably an abnormal scene, but there is a bear grunting in an alleyway. Or actually, I don't know if you changed back or not. I don't remember that. I don't know if Gift you changed back from a bear.
Yeah, I'm thinking. I think I was the one who recommended we find the mayor, so I must have.
Okay, you must have. Okay, well, the building next to the tavern has partially collapsed. The ceiling. There's a couple bodies of these humans in leather armor that looks like kind of trying to be fashioned into dragon wings draped over them, kind of bloodied and on the ground. And you see a purple tiefling in a wheelchair with a big sword, and a small peasant girl, human, and another dragonborn, kind of lithe and spry, just kind of in the alley, like talking to a woman through through a window, who's inside the tavern, and she's like, "Yeah, let's go talk to the mayor." So you all see this person come up. Describe your character a little bit, if you will, Merlin.
My character began existence 1,420 years ago. He had a very, very difficult upbringing, and he had a thing for studying other beings and seeing how he could use his, I guess, manipulation into being their best selves using magic. He really likes breaking it down on dance floors. His eyes are huge and bloodshot, long white hair, frizzier and whiter than ever. And he enjoys using his arms to make him look larger than life.
Great Scott.
Yeah, so you see this person, and Merlin, you know, these are the people that Rami was thinking about. He got in his little message. And yeah, you can make your own conclusions based on the scene here. It's a mess. There's like a couple bodies, like I'm pretty sure Grief, the tiefling, is has a good amount of blood on them. So
Merlin stands there dismayed, very uncertain with what's going on. So he gets onto his knees and stretches his arms out to the heavens and screams, "What's going on?"
Oh, hey, citizen, you're gonna want to probably stay indoors for a little bit. I don't think this is the entirety of this awful group. We're gonna see if the mayor's safe here in a second, but you might want to stay indoors for now, just for your own safety. But not in that house, because that's broken. Don't go in there. That's unsafe.
The peasant girl turns around and says to you very demurely, everything is under control. Things are just fine. And then gives you a winning smile.
Elric,
work on these mixed messages.
Elric kind of turns to Grief and says, "Do we really have it under control? Like,
Oh, honey. No. You'll get used to the way that gift communicates. Maybe we can talk about it later. Are we going to leave these bodies here?
Oh, that's a good point. You think the innkeeper could maybe pull them out of the streets, maybe?
Novi is in the room with Gale. And Novi's this like half giant woman, and she says, I can bring the live ones in here. I'm not bringing the dead ones in.
That's fair. Maybe we just hide the dead ones in the alley for now.
Yeah,
This is not like a permanent solution, obviously. I just don't want, their friends to immediately know something's wrong.
I wonder if their friends would be scared if we put them on pikes on the outside of town, says the peasant girl.
Lad over here.
Bolt.
Goodness. All right.
and just for the sake of you, Tara, Elric is a cleric. He wears like a blacksmith's bandana, and like he has armor that he's clearly made himself. Like it's not like polished for a rich person. He clearly just made it from raw metal, and yeah, he has a holy symbol of the god of the forge on his shield, kind of not artistically carved, but definitely carved by him. So
he is precious baby.
True.
Actually, you lived in Brambles upon the river. You know this kid. You've never seen him in armor, but he's the blacksmith's apprentice.
Was that toward Merlin?
Yeah, that was you, Merlin. For you, Merlin. Yeah, you lived in Brambles upon the river, so you would know this kid. So, in fact, you would maybe know Grief. Grief used to work for another wizard in town. So,
Small world.
Right.
Merlin steps into the tavern so as not to alarm any spooky things.
Okay. Yeah, Novi will come out and help move the live bodies, and we'll just lock them in one of the rooms. It's fine.
How many
Perfect.
bodies are there?
It's a good question.
Dead ones are 4?
I think
3 or
so.
4.
Okay.
I think 2 survived. So yeah, he's decapitated. Yeah, one body's decapitated. That's a thing.
That's is there any is there like a dark corner or something somewhere I can start putting these bodies?
Yeah, there's crates
That is
and
my bag of
refuse.
holding.
Oh,
There's crates and refuse here in the alleyway.
Okay,
So
fantastic. I haul shit all the time, so I'm just gonna start moving bodies.
yeah, I think Finn's probably helping out with that. Did we leave anybody up on the roofs, or did they kind of all fall in with the roof?
no, there's a dead body on the roof.
Yep. Okay. Finn climbs up there.
Yep, easy enough to get off. I mean, not easy, but it's not going to be like a challenge.
Just roll it off the edge. I'll go walk into my
Into-
arms.
Into the collapsed part of the roof and just rolls down like a slide.
We
First we sell cheese, now we hide bodies, you know. It's a good week.
Hey, I mean, we this is, yeah, never mind. There's no good excuse for this.
Just looks at you and shakes her head in agreement. Like no, there is not. We've already accepted that we're going to pay for this.
Oh, that's right. Yep. Yeah, you had mentioned that. Possibly figure out what to pay.
That's why I want to talk to the mayor.
Okay. All right.
Mr. Borrington, you still around here somewhere? Hey. There you are. Oh,
Yep. The boar's still here. I don't remember how long that's last.
until sunrise,
Oh, okay. Yeah, he's here all night. So,
Sweet.
or until drop to 0.
you're dumping bodies on the trash, and he's actually rooting through the trash next to the bodies. So yeah, I'm not going to go too far, but like,
You might want to explain where that came from. Why we have a boar with us.
that's the weirdest thing happening.
What?
I mean,
If I remember correctly, the mayor hasn't been seen in days, so we have been pointed to the house.
Yes, you have. Gale knows where he lives, and Gale's ready to go with you and accost him.
Perfect.
oh my god, we're going to the mayor's house. Awesome.
Well, he doesn't
Yeah.
come outside, so it's either, I don't know.
I don't know why I assumed he'd be in the mayor's office in the middle of the fucking night. That's fair. It's like D&D people, that's where they live, right? They just live wherever they're supposed to work, right?
I will say, as we go to the mayor's office, everybody, maybe don't just knock on the door. No one has seen the mayor in days, right? Y'all are
Nope.
probably assuming he's been hiding, and that's a fair assumption, but maybe somebody else is in there. Just throwing that out there.
Think the mayor's dead?
It's a possibility.
Shit.
Novi kind of awkwardly pipes up, and she says, I think it's probably him. And he's probably alive. I've been leaving food in front of his door. I was worried.
Okay. Okay.
Well, in that case, Gift snaps her finger and uses disguise self at will to be cleaned up and presentable. And then she goes up and knocks on the door with all the training she has as how to do this correctly.
Finn,
Okay.
hearing the knock on the door, is going to hide along the wall.
All right,
Just
Finn.
instinctively.
Do you want to make a stealth check?
Sure. Let's see how this goes.
Merlin, are you going to
Ooh.
come along with them?
Oh, yes, yes. After I'm done with my session of exfoliating my legs. Sorry, it's just a quirk that I have that I just want to do it very often.
Stealth
But
was
yes,
a 24.
24?
For that.
Okay. Well, you're not really hiding from the people outside, but you're
No.
confident no one inside can see you.
Good.
If that was an in-character statement, Merlin, Gift will nod at you like, we all have quirks. Just nod.
thank you, Gift.
And then she turns her attention to the door.
Yeah, so you knock on the door and you hear a voice inside. It says, well, first you hear shuffling. Like someone's definitely inside. And then you see the curtain move just slightly and then like close back. And then it says, go away.
I'm going to say up front, I'd like to make a persuasion check.
Okay.
And then, of course, the dialogue to go with said check is, let's see, we have an official position, right? What is our actual title? And does that apply here?
Oh my God. Y'all
These
are
are things I would know, but
y'all are
I don't know.
you also, the only thing that's been given to you is that you were
Emissary.
representatives of the Enclave for the
Right,
council at
correct.
Ravenhold.
Right. And we are in Elven territory, right? No, we're south. So does that hold any weight here?
It would sort of. I mean, the Enclave kind of operates in everywhere. So they kind of have diplomatic ties with everyone. But
Okay, but not directly. Okay.
yeah.
I'm not going to use that then. So Gift will say, in an effort to provide support and liberation of this town, damages were incurred. We'd like to speak to the mayor about proper recompense.
You've already taken enough. You're not getting more.
I think you misunderstand me, sir. Are you connecting us with the brigands?
I'm not here for your lies.
Oh, dear. She decides to change tactic. She tried to be official. And so she's then going to say, I understand. It sounds like you're scared. The immediate threat has been taken care of, but we do need to speak with you if you're going to save face and continue your role as mayor of this town. And then I want to make that persuasion check.
Okay, go for it.
Appeal to petty power.
Yes.
16.
16. He says, how do I know you are who you say you are?
I didn't say who I was.
He says, make a perception check.
That I'm much less good at. That's a 10.
Okay. You don't hear anything inside. And Gail will like kind of look to you and like kind of defer to you, Gift. Like as she goes to like bang on the door, she's like, okay. And she like bangs on the door and she says, she says, Lance, open the door.
Perfect.
And he says, Gail? No, imposter.
What kind of lock is on the door?
Simple. It's a normal front door lock.
Can I?
Go ahead,
Can
please.
Just look out your window, and I'm gonna hold up the severed head. I'm gonna pull a severed head out of my bag
Of course you
and
kept
hold it up to the window. Just look out the window, please.
it. Of course you kept it.
Gift nods in approval. This is a better technique than she had.
The curtain moves just a little bit more, and then it goes back, and then says, "I don't know who that is. Who did you kill?"
The assholes who are fucking over your town, dude. Where the hell have you been?
No, they'll get me. They'll get things. They'll get my daughter.
I think it's time to break down the door.
At this point, I actually Gift is going to look at Gale and just questions like the daughter.
Yeah. Novi and I just kind of assumed that, his wife and daughter was in there with them. I don't know what's been going on, but also there was like brigands in town. So we didn't have a lot of leeway to investigate further.
Okay.
But yeah, his wife Syra and his daughter Nessa.
Gift nods.
Gale-
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I say it's a simple lock. Question. I'd like to use ice knife to break the lock.
Yeah, I'll allow that.
I'm just gonna fill the ice with ice and then it'll shatter, it'll break the pins.
Yeah.
And then I can turn the lock with anything.
That's not a bad tactic. I'll say make a spellcasting check.
Okay.
Because it is a little bit of a different use of the spell.
There. Which one is this? Is this a druid or this is a druid, so it's wisdom +2, I assume is what you're looking for here.
Yes.
It was a 4.
Okay.
Let me see 1 second. I might have a thing I can change it to that might be better. Just have to look and see if I've used that.
Gale,
Looks like I've already used it.
when was your last nomination for mayor and elections and such?
It's every 4 years, so I think we're on year 3, but he's always been mayor.
Is there like
I'm just kind of thinking I think he's in no
Vice mayor?
state to be mayor right now. You might need to like run a emergency election or something.
Yeah, I think we will deal with that in the daylight.
Fair enough.
It's a good point. Gift shrugs when the lock doesn't give and says, daylight might help.
I will say, like, you don't manage to break all the pins, but you will get advantage. I will give you advantage on a lock picking check.
Okay, I'll give it a shot. I assume that's dex based.
Yes, it is dexterity. Are you proficient in thieves' tools, or do you have thieves' tools?
I don't think that's the tool set I have. I have a different one.
Okay.
Inventory. No, I do not have thieves' tools on me. That's why I wanted to break the pins, because then you could just literally turn it with a knife.
Yeah.
But I'll make that strength check, I suppose.
Yeah, go. Yeah, you
With
can make a
advantage?
strength. Just roll it straight.
Okay.
Straight string check.
Could roll well, but I did not. That's 2.
Whoops.
You actually, what's funny is that you start to push on the door and it does break the lock, but there's deadbolts inside.
Oh, that's awesome. She throws up her hands. She's not actually a rogue. This is not what she does.
Yeah, listen, Mr. Mayor, sir, I just want you to know that it might not be fully safe right now, but at least we've dealt with a large chunk of the brigands who have been threatening your town. We kind of wanted to check in with you to see how to proceed further, but if you're not feeling it, I guess we'll go home. Just want to make sure you're alive, I guess. So good to hear you're alive.
Make a
Yeah, is there
persuasion
space
check.
at the inn?
not that he's terribly useful.
Was that a persuasion check that you asked for? Sorry.
Yes, a persuasion check. Yeah.
Okay. Oh boy, these persuasion checks are going great. That's a 4 plus things. 0. Yeah, it's a 4.
Okay.
We're very persuasive people.
Super persuasive.
Yeah, he says, oh, he can wear a lot of faces. Anyone can have his face.
Honestly, we noticed that actually. Yeah,
His mouth drips with acid.
noticed that one too. Yeah, that was kind of painful. But we don't. We didn't get Jax, right? He was
No.
definitely not amongst them.
No.
Yeah.
Took out some kind of lieutenant.
We think we took out one of his lieutenants. Jax is still on the loose somewhere. I will tell you that right out.
You know
Right out.
You got rid of the one with his face.
One, I can't guarantee there aren't others, but yes. There was somebody faking being Jax.
You hear a bunch of clicking. You can all make perception checks.
Well done, Finn.
I can't make perception checks. I don't know what you're talking about. That's a 6+ numbers.
Pete.
7. I'm sorry.
That is my third 2 in a row, y'all. So that's 5.
Delicious.
Woo!
9 for me.
19.
19.
Yay!
Nice.
You hear the sound of a crossbow being unloaded and
Unload.
deadbolts being undone on the door. And the door just opens because the doorknob really doesn't do anything now. It's been but the door just opens into a pitch dark home. Gail will poke her head in and say, Lance, you okay in there? He says, no. Well, does anyone have dark vision? None of y'all have dark vision, right? I think just Grief.
I was gonna say, yeah, Grief, I think does. I just have
Yeah.
a blade to do that for me.
He's just sitting in a chair in the middle of the living room. Not any one of the comfortable chairs, a dining chair he pulled into the living room to watch the door.
Merlin steps up and asks, what are you doing, Sonny?
He says, they're gonna come for my daughter. And you see, as your eyes kind of adjust to the darkness in the room, he is a dark-skinned man. His hair is seemingly unkempt. It has now just frizzed out. He has very tight curly hair of stark white. And he is wearing a shirt that he has clearly had on for 5 days straight. And there is an unloaded crossbow in his lap.
Why? So, what's with the weapon, sir? Says Merlin.
He and you kind of see that his hand and arm, his right hand and arm, are kind of disfigured. It's hard to tell in the dark here. But he says he promised if I did anything, they would take my daughter too. Can't let that happen.
What do you mean by did anything?
If I told anyone what's going on, if I tried to stop them.
Sounds like a terrible situation. Hey, Gail, you know Lance, right? Can you ask him a question that only Lance would have the answer to?
Oh man, I got a world built on the spot. She says, yeah, who won the boulder throwing contest last year? He says, it's Novi. It's always Novi. Every year it's Novi. And Novi just kind of is nodding, yeah, that's right.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Oh, hey, real quick. It's real dark in here. I'm going to unsheath my sword. It's just to provide some light. It is not, I'm not trying to attack anyone. Okay? And I pull out my rapier and it gives like 20 feet of radiance.
Okay. As the light hits, like he kind of like pulls away from the light as he's been probably sitting in the dark all night long. And this is clearly a man who has not slept, but starting at about the bottom of his like right cheek, going down his neck, under his shirt, down his right arm, is what looks to be burns, probably from acid.
Oh. Oh boy. If you don't mind, Elric, do you know anything about treating acid burns? Could you help him out at all?
Elric will look at will see what spells he has prepared.
He has Cure Wounds. He has Healing Word. Lesser Resto.
Lesser resto would probably be what we're looking for here. So yeah, he will Elric will say, yeah, I can do something. He said he will set his shield down and come up to him. He says, this shouldn't hurt. And he will come up to him. He initially touches him and then remembers he has like big blacksmith gloves on, and then pulls them off and then touches him again. And this energy that looks like the glow from a forge comes from his hand. And the burn still leaves a scar. And it still leaves a story of the injury, but it heals in a matter of moments, what would take weeks. And so this, and you can see the pain kind of leave this man's face. And for a moment, you almost think he's thinking clearly. But his eyes are still wide. His posture is still tense. He has so much tension in his shoulders, and he's looking around at all of you.
Okay, so two things. First of all, since we want to make sure that your town, the actual townspeople, are getting set up to protect against the return of the acid guard, because I'm sure they will come with whatever is left, and we're going to be here for that too, right? Gift, Grief, what do you think? You good with sticking around and trying to confront Jax?
Fine by me.
Okay.
Gift shrugs.
So we'll we'll be here too, but the townsfolk themselves should prepare for their return so they can defend themselves this time. And we could probably use your help, your mayoral help, to get them prepared for that. And we should send anyone who is not in fighting conditions somewhere safer than just being in the middle of the town.
He is taking in your words. And as you're talking, you hear a door, like a bedroom door, open from back further in the house, and a teenage. This man is he's kind of middle aged, but yeah, he's a teenage girl in like a sleeping gown comes out and says, "What's going on?" She has clearly his daughter. Dark skin, her hair is pulled back into braids and wrapped in some sort of cloth with a blue ribbon. And she says, she kind of like guards her eyes against the light from your sword, and she says, "Dad, what's going on?" He's taking in these words, and he says, "Can you save my wife?"
That's
Did they take her?
He took her. He said he said it's leverage to make sure that we pay. and then she'll stay alive as long as we're keeping the money.
Do you know where Jax goes when he leaves town?
I think he's in Zarkan. That's where he said he came from when he came to. He said he was going to help the town. He was going to protect us. He had soldiers to help protect us from the dragon. And I thought, well, we don't have soldiers. We have one guard. He barely knows how to shoot a crossbow.
At this information, Grief will almost dissociate to a degree and twist the ring on his finger. We'll do what we can. I'll do what I can.
We don't want to do anything to endanger your wife by any means. We will do our utmost to protect her. But we also want to get your town out from under this nonsense.
Gail will put her hand on your shoulder, Fen, and say, I think Lance has had enough for tonight. You, me, and Novi, we'll talk about this.
Okay.
She turns to Lance and says, Lance, go get you some sleep. You look like death. And we'll kind of guide this man who has now, like, his arms have kind of slumped. The crossbow has fallen to the floor. And she, like, guides him up from the chair and says, Nessa, and, like, calls her over to come help him into his bed. She says, and you hear Gail say, we're going to get her. We'll get her back. And she guides them both back. After a few moments, Gail comes back and says, let's go to the tavern to talk. Let's let them rest.
That's probably for the best.
The tavern is a half collapsed building now, yes?
No, that's the general store next door. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, the building next to it, which we have to deal with that, but yeah. You make your way back to the alligator's tooth. It is pretty much cleared out now. The place isn't really lit. There's just small lanterns on each table that kind of give small space. There's some brighter lanterns over the, like, bar area. So you can find a place lit and to sit and converse. Gail is, to describe Gail, she is a dark-skinned woman. Her hair is pulled back, and Novi is a gray-skinned, kind of half-giant woman, hair in a ponytail. She runs this tavern. Clearly, she goes and she's very comfortable behind the bar, and will give y'all drinks and food, and as kind of thanks for helping.
Okay.
Gail will say, "Oh, go ahead. Sorry."
I was just gonna say, who knows the movements of these acid guard the best in town? Who should we talk to about that?
She said, Gail says, you do realize you took out most of them here, right? Like, there's a few scattered around the edges, but she says, you took out quite a few of them.
Okay.
They're probably not going to be patrolling tonight. I mean, they didn't really patrol at night anyway.
Fair.
Do we know for certain where they have his wife?
I don't think she's in town. We haven't seen her. We thought she was. We didn't know what was going on. She says, we remember when the guy, we thought the guy you killed was their leader, but I guess he wasn't.
Seemingly not. No.
Well, We remember when he came into town, he talked to the mayor. The mayor told us everything was fine. And then a few days ago, everything just took a turn.
Gotcha. Well, if that is most of the organization, maybe you're not in as much danger as I'm worried about. I would say probably want to have some sort of scout, keeping an eye on the entrances to town.
Mhm.
Not the same scout, obviously, but 24/7. Just for a little while we go into town and try to deal with them up front.
I know a few rangers in town who can maybe help us keep a watch. Things aren't as overwhelming as before you killed a few of them. So that'll help. Okay, he said something about Zarkan?
He did. He mentioned Zarkan is where Jax came from originally. So that's probably the direction for us to head. At least our best clue.
If you can save her and if you can bring her back, I mean, I don't know. I don't think we can pay you, but maybe we can call things even.
If smiles at this.
Absolutely.
Would we be imposing by staying here tonight before heading out early in the morning?
Novi says, well, I'm basically empty now.
Fair enough. Okay.
You can
So
each have your own room. I don't care. Just
What
don't
do the
break.
room?
Go ahead.
Sorry. What do the rooms look like?
She'll just take you back through into a hallway behind so the tavern is one area and there's doors that go into like a hallway into lodging basically in the back. And the rooms are nice. Some of them have 2 beds, some have one larger bed. Yeah, they're modest, wood floors, wood walls, unpainted, small wardrobe, clean bedding. A few of them have small wood stoves to keep the rooms warm, but it's been a warm night, so you might not need that.
all right. Well, we appreciate it. Yeah, we'll try to get out of here as early as we can to go put a end to this, hopefully.
At this point, Gift pulls out a chalkboard, which Merlin you've never seen, and she starts writing on the chalkboard. And she holds it up to you and says, "What?" It says, "What brings you here, stranger?"
Ah, yes. I've heard you folks have very great soil, and I use soil to exfoliate my legs at times. Well, that's the funny version. The real version is while I was meditating in brambles, I had a message come to me, and it told me, you folks are in trouble. Oh, wait. I'm talking. Who am I? Am I talking to the tavern person?
Nope, you're talking to Gift.
Oh, okay. And what was the question? Sorry.
What brings you here, stranger? Was written on the board.
Oh, yes. I am on a quest to help you folks in any way that I can.
Erases the chalkboard. Writes, us specifically? Was it Vera? I believe that's the name of my sister.
Vitha.
Vetha.
Yes, Veta. Very fine person.
No, it was actually Rami.
Rami. Okay. Romney. Yes, Romney sent me.
At this point, Gift nods and smiles. Looks around somewhat uncomfortably for a moment, then pulls out a tea kettle and looks at you very apologetically. Starts making tea.
So
Oh, thank you.
Rami
Thank you,
got
guys.
back to Brambles and got you here in the time it took us to get. Huh.
Alric says we were helping that devil sell cheese for like 2 weeks, so that makes sense.
Okay. All right. Although I thought we heard from Rami and he was still in the other town waiting for us.
I'm trying to remember what I
Wait a
told
minute.
you.
We heard from him.
Yeah, he sent a sending.
Rami has powers. What?
It's a nice like herbal tea and it's spiked with good berries, so it has healing magic even though you don't need it. They run out after 24 hours, so they're worthless. So why not spike them in the tea? She hands it to you and then she writes on her board, I apologize about not being more polite earlier. Racist. Thank you for coming to save us. And she smiles demurely.
Merlin stretches his arms to look huge and says thank you for the tea.
That's basically it.
All right. So do you all go take a long rest for the evening? It is now like probably almost close to dawn after doing all of this. So
Yeah.
So we're sleeping until evening.
yep. You're gonna sleep in all day. And
Leave early in the morning at 2 p.m.
that's the way I travel. Yeah, so I guess that is a good place for us to take our break. So we're going to take a 10 to 15 minute break and yeah, we'll be back soon. See y'all in a bit.
See you soon.
Hey everybody, welcome back. We are ready to continue playing our little game of Dungeons and Dragons. So you all go down to rest. Grief. You close your eyes and you try and rest. But today's events have sat heavy on you. But you do manage to get to sleep. But your hooves find themselves on that familiar dewy grass. It's early morning. Pardon me. It's early morning. But you smell smoke on the air. You run. You run down the hill. You run into the valley where you know your home is. You see figures, so many figures. Roll me a perception check.
The nat 1 for a 4.
You're just looking, your eyes are darting. You can't seem to make sense of it. It's like no matter how far you run, how close, how much you strain to look, you can't see what's right in front of you. There's just wings, there's people, there's sounds, there's light, there's anger, there's confusion, there's your wife. And you wake up covered in sweat.
How long have I been asleep?
It's hard to tell. The sun has come up some, but it was already close to dawn before you went to sleep. Give me a survival check.
7.
7? Yeah, you're not sure. It's just your heart's racing. Your heart shouldn't have been racing. Give me a Constitution saving throw.
17.
Okay. You will not be exhausted, but if you wait out the rest of the day here, you don't feel like you can get back to sleep. But if your companions manage to sleep just fine, you'll get the benefits of a long rest.
All right, then I will start my morning workout, basically.
Okay. All right. The day goes on. You all get your 8 hours. There's no elves or any weirdness here. Everyone gets their 8 hours. So most of my parties usually have elves. And it's like, we only have to go for 4 hours. Yeah. So it's, I'd say it's probably close to late morning by the time most of you are waking up. But yeah, what do y'all do?
Ben's gonna get packed up, get some breakfast real quick, and be out the door ready to go.
Merlin opens his eyes, stretches out his arms, and slowly gets up, opens the door, and makes his way downstairs to look for anything to eat at all. But there's not anyone in sight. So he goes behind the bar and finds a half-eaten piece of bread, noms on that, and heads outside for some fresh air.
And you have like a half-eaten piece of bread, and like you actually run into Novi, who runs the place, who is like coming in with like the day's groceries. And this is she like looks at you for a second and is like, no, I'm gonna let you do what you do, and goes back inside. Everyone's got their morning rituals.
Merlin looks very ashamed and then sprints so fast out the door.
Okay.
Gift gets up, spends an hour or however long it takes to prepare spells in meditation. And then, prepares herself a proper breakfast. And anyone else who happens to be around. First meal of the day, it's very important.
Yeah. Novi doesn't have a lot of people here in the tavern at this midday. Like most of the breakfast people come earlier. So it's kind of empty in here, but she'll make you some food. It's probably just whatever leftover soup she had from last night, and some eggs. Basically ends up being a brunch type thing.
Merlin pokes his head back through the door and sees all of this food, and with pleading eyes asks, can I eat that? Can I eat any of that, please? Please?
She says, yeah, of course, go for it.
Thank you.
Least I can do.
He sits down and goes straight for the bread and eventually eats all of it. He really likes bread.
Yep, nods with approval and writes on her chalkboard, I appreciate someone with a healthy appetite.
Hey, have you ever tried that with oil and vinegar? It's kind of amazing.
No, I haven't come across such things in my entire 1,420 years of life.
Gift looks confused.
Elric looks confused. Gift and Elric lock eyes for a moment, just like, okay.
All right, after we finish eating, unless there's anything else that folks want to do, I think we head out with our lack of cart.
Oh yeah, y'all don't have a cart anymore.
It's very much on Gift's mind.
Finn does not say anything, but she left somewhere in the room 2 gold and 5 silver to cover the room as best she can, anyways.
Okay. You all make your way out of Stork's Run as the sun comes to its zenith for the day. And it is the last day of midsummer.
Okay.
As we are about to go into autumn. Sorry, it's the last day of Summer's End, the month of Summer's End. And so it's a cloudy day. It's cooler than it was the day before. So it's a comfortable day to go on a little walk to the next city. And you all, Elric puts his shield on his back like a backpack and starts trudging, clinking his chainmail the entire way there. But you make your way over the course of the day. You probably have to stop and camp, but this is a pretty well traveled road. It's not an unsafe place to be. You will find a place on the side to make camp and then break down camp in the morning. And as you reach about noon the next day, it is now the autumn equinox. And yeah, so you come to the city of Zarkan as you crest some hills on your way in. Now, I'm going to drop a bunch of lore about the city of Zarkan. You can decide for yourself what your character would know. Let me read this. So, once upon a time, the Clay River was home to only farmers and the animals that took refuge in its reed-covered banks. The farmers revered a goddess named Thala, the Flood, who mostly appeared as a massive sturgeon that would bring the seasonal floods to their fields, enrich their lands, and bring forth healthy crops. In the river was a verdant, rocky island, full of life, a truly idyllic place. A rich king desired this island to be the location of his new palace. He commissioned dams and weirs be built along this river to stem its flow. He then built a bridge from the shore to the island so that construction could begin on this monument to his wealth. The seasonal floods stopped. This angered the farmers, and thus it angered Thala. She seethed, and it began to rain. And rain, and rain, and rain. For 28 days it rained. The reservoirs filled to their tops. The weirs were overwhelmed. One night, the dams broke, one by one by one, and a wall of water rushed towards the king's palace on the island. Hearing the rush of water, the king rose from his sleep and hastily made his way to the bridge. He watched as the waters rose, and in his haughtiness, he declared he was more powerful than the gods, and that this place would stand as a testament to his superiority. The waters echoed back. Even the gods will someday perish. The king was washed away to the sea, and the bridge was gone, and the palace stood ruined. The king's daughter assumed the throne and rebuilt the palace, but built no bridge, built no dam, and promised the goddess that her flood would flow freely through the new capital, Zarkan. The city of Zarkan comes into your view. You crest a hill and look down into a deep valley. And on the other side are hills with beautiful mansions that the sunlight is glinting off of their stucco-covered exteriors. You see the river run through, red from the reddish clay that permeates this area. On the side you're on, there is the bustle of industry. Roads come to the south bank here. That's where the ports onto the river are. And in the middle is a palace. It is a massive structure. It's stone. It doesn't look like it's made of stone. It looks like it rose one day from the riverbed. It is this clay covered, painted a bright red to match the river. The north bank is where the gentry of this city live, the gentry and nobility of this city. The South Bank, where you are, is the industry. The island is the capital. It's where the king of Southern Reach lives and rules from. There are no bridges to see. There's a network of barges and ferries that take goods to and from the various sides of the river. But you are here in Sarkan, entering the Southern Bank District. What would you like to do?
So this is the autumn equinox. While other people are doing things, Gift is absolutely going to go and leave offerings to the harvest gods, and also look for the gleaners, and give donations to whatever organization supports the gleaners.
Okay.
This is absolutely religious practice for Gift, no question.
And yeah, the city is decked out in the harvest god Virgus is also the god of death. It is and in this time he is revered. A large effigy built to him, this extremely tall man sits on a throne in effigy to him with the largest pumpkin they could find placed on his head.
Excellent. Yeah. Absolutely will participate in whatever sort of public ritual there is, donations to that organization, and like I said, the gleaners as well, the folks who go through the fields after the initial harvest. There's usually some kind of organization.
Yeah, there's plenty of priests of Virgus would be about this day, and I believe would be doing acts of service like that as well. So
I'll do 10 gold to both, like the formal temple and the charitable work.
You would probably all know. Virgus, the god of death, is a figure of not desolation, but of bounty and the natural way that things rise and fall. Their worshippers do not believe that death is desolation. Death is the harvest. Death is just the souls are being taken back. They were grown here and they will be taken, and that's fine. That's normal. So they are a more lively bunch. They don't seem dour like you would think a cult of death would be. So
at the end of, and again, I know other people are going to do things throughout the day. At the end of this day of ritual work, I'd like to take a religion check. I'll use my tapestry to get an 18.
Okay.
And I am fighting my nature. I am trying to reap from my inherent nature. I am trying to push against that.
Okay. All right.
Just start that process of this is no longer what I am.
Okay. I'll keep that in mind. Yeah, you do know one figure who lives here and said he was going to be here. One Sir William Robert Bones.
Excellent.
AKA Billy Bob Bones.
When this is where Billy Bones is located, right? That seem right? Seems the same. Maybe we can ask him about seeing any of these acid guard. I happen to have one of their suits, so might help refresh his memory if he sees the symbol.
For sure.
I guess the question is, how do we track down Billy?
Alric says, I think I can do a spell. It's kind of new. And he said he can basically cast sending. He pulls out a some basically just solder that he has. It makes a wire armature out of something. I think I can send him a small message.
On one end is a tin can, and there's a string coming from it. It just kind of hangs in the air.
So yeah, just tell me what you want to tell him, and I can send it to him. I think. Yeah.
I guess we'd like to meet up somewhere. We're in, what'd that sign say? The South Dock, South Fork, South, what South, whatever it is here. I don't know where south in the southern part of Zarkan, and we'd like to meet up with him somewhere safe.
Yeah. Elric will do the spell, and he says, "Billy, it's Elric. We are in the South Bank. Where can we meet you?" And Elric will hear back, "My boy Elric, happy to hear from you. You are not too far from where I live. I live right across the big temple of Vergus. You cannot miss it."
I feel like this is going to be Doug Dimmadome's mansion.
Doug Dimmadome. Of the Dimsdale Dimmadome. Yeah. So
I don't think Billy Bob Bones' hat was tall enough for that.
he would though. Yeah, and I mean you passed right by the big temple of Vergus. In fact, you donated some money to him. So you can backtrack through the city pretty easily. And
Okay.
the temple of Vergus is actually laid out with in preparation for a feast tonight that all are welcome to. And but it seems like they have these long tables for funerals and things like that out anyway. But there's a townhouse across the street that you see amongst all the people bustling through, you see the tall feather of Billy Bob Bones's hat. Billy Bob Bones is a tall man, a large mustache, a big hat with a big feather coming out the top. He is wearing a gambeson, this kind of padded armor that a swordsman would wear, but it is a hot armor and it is a warmer day, as it is kind of always warm here in Zarkan. So he looks kind of out of place being in all of this. So he does not spot you, but you spot him.
See, did you say he's going about his day, just like wandering around, or is he like sticking to the townhouse?
He's standing in front of the townhouse looking for you.
Ah, okay. Great. Yeah, I guess Fenn's gonna head right for him then.
Okay. Yeah. He says, "Finn Cirrus."
Hey Billy, how you doing?
"Oh, it's the whole gang, ain't it?
Yeah,
Now-
yeah.
Now, how can I help you?"
Well,
He says, "Oh, pardon my manners." And he says, "Let me invite you in." And he will go into this townhouse and lead you up the stairs into his home. There are various along the walls of the stair are various like fencing swords, both for sport and for battle, all along the wall.
this all tracks.
There is a plaque with many different like coat of arms on it. Go ahead and give me a history check as you see this plaque.
First decent roll of the night. History, you said? Oh man, that's a 26.
Oh. This is a mark of his title of knight.
Yeah. Is he specifically a knight of Zarkan or a knight of a different?
Yeah, of the Kingdom of Southern Reach. Yes.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yep. Yep. Specifically, his title is Knight Executioner.
Interesting. Billy, thank you so much for having us in your house. We came here, of course, on a bit of a mission, kind of an ongoing thing from what we started back in Brambles. Is it safe to talk in here? No scrying or anything like that you know of?
I don't think so. I don't know much about magic.
Fair enough. Me neither.
You have
I hear
100%.
scrying's a pain, though.
You have 100% seen this man cast a spell, but yes.
Yeah.
Oh, who's the new friend?
Oh, this is you know, don't think I actually asked your name. He was what I know is he was sent by Rami. You remember Rami?
Oh, I know Rami very well.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, he Rami was worried about us, so he sent I am so sorry. What is your name?
He actually, Billy will stand up and like kind of give you a bow, Merlin, and he says, "Allow me to introduce myself. My name is Sir William Robert Bones, but you may call me Billy Bob. Pleased to meet you."
Who is Billy Bob talking to?
You, Merlin.
Oh, hello, Billy Bob. It's so nice to meet you. Now, what are you doing with all of these weapons on your wall?
Well, see, that is a funny story. I worked very hard in my youth to become the best fencer in all the lands.
Do you practice these days?
Well, I find myself in many a scuffle. It's kind of in my line of work. Slavers are a scourge on the lands, and I make sure that slavers end up dead.
You know, this is what we were just dealing with is tangentially related to that. That seems fair. Have you ever heard of the Acid Guard?
He thinks to himself for a second. He says, "I can't say that I am familiar with that term."
Okay. Well, do you remember that fella that was an owl bear? That when we saved him from his owl bearness, he spit acid at us as thanks.
Oh, yes, I vaguely remember that.
Yeah. Well, we think he's here somewhere in Zarkan. And he seems to be the leader of this thing called the Acid Guard. And they're running protection rackets.
Well, now that just won't do. We can't have that happening.
That's kind of what we were feeling as well. It went so far, in fact, as to they apparently kidnapped the mayor's wife of the town we just came from. We were hoping to hopefully track them down to save her.
Okay.
And I don't know if maybe you've seen this symbol. I pull out the studded leather armor that has the Acid Guard symbol on it. This is what they wear on a normal basis to show that they're part of the Acid Guard.
Oh, is this that whole like dragon worship and nonsense?
Pretty sure it is. Yes.
Never took much to dragons. No offense. And he says, "Well,
Didn't we meet you with a dragon egg in your hands?"
well, that was an innocent baby. I had to save that." Big dragons, it's 50-50.
Yeah, that's fair.
Big dragons, even the nice ones might just consider you a nice little servant, and that's the good ones.
Mm.
Merlin's eyes become very intense and bloodshot while hearing this. But says
Again,
nothing.
no offense. I'm sorry if I'm speaking out of turn.
No, it's yeah. I mean, like the whole thing was apparently there was a black dragon who I don't know if it attacked the town or it got near the town. At any rate, it spooked the townsfolk. And then Jax came rolling in, the former owl bear, and said, "Oh, we'll protect you from that dragon." And then they started extorting them.
Does this Jax have a surname?
Probably.
Notes.
Notes.
I don't know if I've told you his surname.
I don't think I wrote it down if we did here.
Go ahead and roll history checks. We'll see if if you just kind of
See
absorb
if we were paying attention. Oh, well, okay. History, so that's a 16.
16. Okay.
So are we all
23 for
rolling?
me.
Okay.
Yeah. You can all roll upon it being asked this. I don't actually know if Merlin would know, so don't worry about that.
Okay.
And as far as I know, I'm not present, so I'm not rolling.
Oh yeah, you went through town. You're doing your thing. Okay, I got that. Cool.
That's why I haven't said anything.
Okay, cool. I wasn't sure. I didn't quite make that connection, but it makes perfect sense. So no worries. Yeah. So you actually remember picking out that his full name is Jax Fletcher.
Yeah. Last name is Fletcher.
Oh well. Now the Fletchers are a very important family in this town.
Important how?
Well, they run some sort of shipping business. I try not to get my head into what the big highfalutin families do. It's not my thing. I mean, clearly I'm an important person, but important people are hard for me to interact with.
Fair.
So you wouldn't be able to introduce us to the Fletcher family, would you?
Now, unfortunately, yes, I can do that. He
Or I
says,
suppose maybe we don't want an introduction so much as an idea of where the Fletcher household would be in the Fletcher estates, so that we can scout it out.
he says, but then there's the rub. See, I can't just let this whole city has rules that they like. I'm not too keen on them, but I've got my titles, I've got my important job, and I got to follow the rules just like everybody else.
Right.
And
that makes sense.
This whole city runs on favors. Now, I can't get you across the river without a chit. You got to have a chit to cross the river. They won't let you on the ferries otherwise.
Interesting. How do we earn a chit or pay for a chit?
You get a recommendation from an important person. But you have to, that important person must then provide a proof of deeds done to show that you are properly in my employ and have a chit to enter. Now, I might have something you can do, and you can go about on the other side of the river where the important people live and do what you want to do. But I also have a job that I need you to do.
What might this job be?
Well, see, this is just this is my comfortable house. Now, the big house is on the other side of the river where all the important people are. I got it. it was payment for a job done. It was, again, favors. Everything in this whole town is a network of favors.
Mm.
Now, the big house is haunted as hell.
Perfect.
Hmm. Okay.
I have sent many a team to go clear it out, do whatever. They spend one night in the house and they say something got in their dreams and started messing with them. I don't know. I think they're all just full of it until I went and tried to just stay in the house. I thought, well, maybe I can stay in the big house. Nope. That was a bad idea. I had the worst dreams I have ever had. Now, I've seen some stuff in my days, and oh boy.
So no one talks about seeing anything apart from their dreams then. This seems to
Exactly.
be. Huh.
I don't know if there's something under the house, in the attic. No one's found anything. It might be in the walls, could be in the water.
All right.
I mean, this sounds important. But we're trying to get a kidnapped person unkidnapped.
Now, I do understand. I completely understand. And I might be able to work something out. How long has she been missing? Is she in imminent danger?
I don't remember.
Is this
I
kind
have
of
no
a
idea.
is
Based
this
on
kind
the
of a kidnapping leverage situation, or is this
It's
Yeah, it's
that's
a leverage
exactly. It
situation.
was a leverage situation for sure. It was. From what we understood from the townsfolk, I think it was it's been a couple of weeks. I don't think the mayor told us exactly when this went down, but I'm guessing at least a couple of weeks ago. She went missing / was kidnapped. And the mayor was essentially told not to do anything or she would be killed.
And we just killed like 4 or so of
Yeah.
the party who is responsible for the kidnapping. So I worry that if we don't find her soon, there will be nothing to find.
Yeah, they might, report back or find out that that went down.
now that's quite the conundrum. All right. Well,
Like, I have no problem taking care of your ghost problem, but maybe we can handle the ghost problem after we handle the, kidnapping problem.
it may not be ghosts, it could be pixies.
I don't care what the fuck it is, to be quite honest. I'll kill whatever the fuck you want me to kill. I just need to get this man's wife back to him.
All right. All right. All right. Now, hear me out. All right. Now, if I don't, I can get you across the river, but you must do a deed for me, or the whole domino of favors just ends up being a mess. So, the whole kit and caboodle will collapse. So,
Well, let me ask this. Are we going to be on the same place we need to be?
now that
the
is a question
estate.
that I don't know the answer to.
Just thinking two birds with one stone there, but maybe not.
Look, I can meet with Mr. Fletcher, not Jax Fletcher. I don't know who that is, but I know his daddy, or who might be his daddy. I don't know. I don't know their family. I know the family, but I don't know what the anyway. He says, he takes a step back and he composes himself and he says, look, I know the big man in charge of the Fletcher family. I can meet with him today, maybe get some idea about where he might have some loose business holdings. See if I can find a few places. But it's gonna take me a while.
Got it.
Now,
Sounds-
if you do this deed for me, I get you a temporary chit today. You have freedom of movement, but you have to do what I sent you to do and come back to me soon.
Got it.
All right.
This sounds like a job for Split the Party. Hint, send a gift to the ghost.
Hmm. Seems safe.
We
Gosh.
come back and Gift is just making the ghosts some lunch.
Exactly.
Now we've worked out an agreement.
Yep. He says, now, he says, outside of Zarkan, I can do all sorts of things for you. But inside Zarkan, there's powerful forces at play that are beyond my control. And I apologize, and I really would want to. Honestly, I would tear through the whole town to save one person. But you can't do what I do without important people backing you up and funding your travels.
Right. No, we yeah, I mean, this sounds like probably the best way to go about it since we don't know a lot else going on in town. Elric, how do you do with the undead and apparitions? Have you dealt with that before?
Ulrich looks around. He says, no, but he said, but Kessa told me that, like, through the power of faith and the forge, we can do a lot of things. I might be able to do something. Maybe the holy symbol will scare them. I don't know. I can just dump some magic into it, see what happens.
I mean, yeah, that's probably going to do a lot more than if it is a ghostly figure than my swords here. So,
What you have the glowy swords. They might do something.
maybe, yeah.
Well, you got the glowing sword, but then you have the glowy swords.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, I'm questioning it. I don't know. Psionic Blade might do a thing or two about that, but we'll have to see. Of course, we'll have to also see if it's like a evil spirit or just a goofy spirit or Old Man Jenkins down from the farm. It could be any of those things, really. Although I don't know how Old Man Jenkins is getting into their dreams, if I'm being honest.
You might want to prepare your spells extra mindfully, Elric.
I also can. He like pulls out a little like thing of paint, and he says, Grief, hand me your sword.
Hand it over.
He says, he carefully paints a version of the holy symbol, the god of the forge, into the bottom of the blade, and it hums for a moment. And he says, I think that can make it better. It's a +1 weapon until the dawn of the next day.
Cool.
And he can do that once a day.
All right.
That's a great ability, especially when dealing with incorporeal.
Do I need to cast that for him?
It's just a.
Because I've been keeping track of these thingies.
It's not a spell.
Oh, it's not the magic weapon thing.
Oh, he has the spell magic weapon, but that's a totally different thing.
Oh, gotcha.
He has a feature called where is it?
Sorry, I just wanted to make sure I didn't need to
Oh,
get it as a spell.
that's the wrong.
Oh, Blessing of the Forge.
Yeah.
I can mark that. Okay, cool.
All right.
Sweet.
Well, Billy, if you give us those temporary chits, we'll get over to the right place and
He
has
says,
anyone seen Gift?
oh yeah, well, sorry. First things first. I have to wait till tomorrow because today's a holiday.
Oh, got it.
Now,
Okay.
I encourage you to take part in the festivities. Vergus might look really keen on you.
Okay. Well, we can take part in some religiosity, I guess. Some ceremony. Any fun events that we should go to?
He says, there will be feasts. The big effigy down at the riverbank. They're gonna burn that sucker tonight. So it'll be a whole shebang.
Lovely.
Okay. All right. Well,
And as we go on into the evening, I think that's where we're going to end for tonight. With a lot to think about, a lot to do, and a festival before you, we will end our session. I love running this game. I wish we could go all night. Like I would go for another 2 hours. Like I'm so ready for this. This is the city I wanted y'all to get to. So
Which we came to despite all directions.
yes. Mhm. Yeah, that's my gaming style. I gave y'all 1 million threads. I hope for one, and that's it. So, all right, let's go ahead and we'll do our outros. Let me look at what we've got here. All right, start with you, Silver.
okay. Hi, everybody. I am Silver_Bulette here on Twitch as well as YouTube. Tomorrow night at 8:30 p.m. Pacific, we should be doing another session of Capes and Caverns, which is we're in season 2 of our run. This is a superhero overlay to D&D, and I play a sports reporter who happens to have beams that come out of his mouth when he opens it. So a lot of fun. 8:30 p.m. Pacific tomorrow should be the timing, and hopefully we'll see you there. Also, you can catch me on TikTok for as long as TikTok stays available in the United States, and you can find me there at All the Web's a Stage.
Awesome. Jaden.
Hey, I'm Jaden, or I also go by Siliqui. You can find me on most platforms under the username Fat Sapphic Bro. I mostly hang out on TikTok and make a wide variety of content, so come hang out with me.
Awesome. Penny.
Hello, thank you all for being here. I hope you had fun. And speaking of Ghost, I almost don't exist on the internet. I am a figment of your imagination in this game. So I don't have anything to plug, but I'm so glad you were here.
And I'm glad you're here with us every time we play. And Tara.
Hi, yeah, thanks for joining us. My name's Tara. I mod for a stream called Cooking DJ that happens on the weekends at about 8 p.m. or so. Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Oh, I forgot to bring up my closing, so I'm not ready. And I'm Archangelic. You can find me here Sunday nights at 7:30 Pacific, running this game, the Era of the Dragons, for these wonderful people here. You can also find many links for me on my website, archangelic.space, which is a beautiful, brutalist, static HTML website that I keep for myself as a little treat for myself. If you've missed any of our games, you can check them out on YouTube. The link is going to be in the chat as soon as I type the command. And it's also in the description for the channel. We also have a podcast that I am terribly behind on uploading the episodes to. I think I have 13 episodes up on there, and this is session 20. So just keep that in mind. But you can just search Era of the Dragons wherever you get podcasts. If you want to support this game and any other future projects, we have a few things I'm working on that might be coming down the pike. You can support us on Patreon. I will put that link in the chat as well. And you can join us on Patreon command does not work. But anyway, you can also join us on Discord. That link is also in our chat. So, and lastly, thank you, .user, our producer who is working behind the scenes to make this stream possible, streaming this for us. Thank you for all we do. We appreciate you. Thank you all again for tuning in. We love you, and we hope to see you next week. Bye, y'all.
Bye.